So glad to have the choir back. I know it's been 6 months. I don't care. I'm still happy. This is going to be what I would call a homily, a little shorter than a sermon. I remember a Thanksgiving service I went to once. I think I've told this story at least once before, when I couldn't muster up even an ounce of gratitude. I was sick. I was not a minister at the time. My husband was deployed to Iraq, and I was seething with internal anger that I was somehow supposed to be crafting a meaningful Thanksgiving holiday for my 2 little boys. And I sat at church that Sunday in my seat with my arms crossed. I was protecting myself. I was holding myself in. And I stared out the window. They had a lovely window. You could see over the hills of Manhattan, Kansas. And I didn't want anyone to see my tears. They weren't even sad tears. They were angry tears. I was so angry. I was told, now be grateful. And just filled me with rage. It wasn't quite like that. Nobody was really yelling at me to be thankful. But it felt that way to me. And it occurred to me toward the end of that service that I did actually feel gratitude for something. I was grateful for the people on my rows around me because they did not touch me. They did not try to console me. I didn't want them to. I'm pretty sure my body language was clear. But there they were around me with their own gratitudes. And of course, there was a potluck because, UUs are the same everywhere. There's always a potluck. And after the service, I was grateful for that because my kids got all the food they wanted. They had other kids to play with. They had lots of grown-ups fussing over them. And I was grateful to take some plates home so I wouldn't have to cook them dinner that night, too. It's really easy at this time of year, as like our holiday season is just getting geared up, to settle for saccharine thanks. Thank you, Thanksgiving, handprints, turkey feathers. It's cheap grace sometimes, or it can be. There's this insistent veneer of happy, 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 everybody be happy over the celebrations from now through the end of the year. And these are, for many of us, joyful times that we're grateful for. And they're also, for many of us, difficult times. Our lives are rarely one or the other. They're usually mixed up, joy and sorrow in our daily lives. And maybe this is something to be grateful for even. By the depth of our sorrow and rage, we know of a great love that should be honored with thanks. If our sadness and anger are for grave injustices, then we can be grateful for the drive to fairness and kindness within ourselves, at least, and to see it in others around us. If our sorrow is for the loss of a loved one, as for many of us around the holidays it really can be, then maybe this is our time to say, well, I'm really grateful for that love that I had. I am hurting now, but it's the flip side of the coin of love. It makes you vulnerable. Here in this place, in this room, we are free to express and seek understanding of the sorrow and the joy, the anger and the gratitude, the loss, and the immeasurable gains of friendship and community. I am not interested here in papering over the complexity of our real experiences and our real emotions with this false expectation of cheer or demand that we all be grateful. How could you trust the joys that you feel here if you weren't also able to trust your sorrow and your vulnerability, right? So both of those are welcome. Here in this place, we are free and we are safe and we are not alone. Just as our sorrows are lightened once they're borne by those many shoulders, our joys are multiplied and strengthened and cast out like seeds into the kind earth of this beloved community, a shared space for our common experience and our communion. So, to put it very briefly, for what shall we give thanks? Why, for each other. Amen.